let's get right into it. Before you got on, I was talking to the people and I was sharing my list of the top 5 most important Philadelphia Eagles entering the 2022 season. Now, I had to make it clear, this isn't the top 5 best or the
Right.
top 5 most talented or the top 5 guys you like or who's the most injured. No, this is none of those things. The most important to their overall goal, to their success, to them being able to execute what they want to execute. And for me, my top 5 guys were Haason Reddick at number 5, AJ Brown at number 4, Jason Kelsey at number 3, Jordan Davis at number 2, and Jalen Hurts at number 1, the most obvious. But
Yeah.
I want to get your thoughts. Are you able to say who are your top 5 most important players? Or maybe you're not even the top 5, but who are some of the most important players to you entering the 2022 season when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles' overall success?
Okay, before we get to the players, I want to say that there is somebody with the Philadelphia Eagles that I feel they have stocked with talent, just like they have stocked Jalen Hurts with talent on the offensive side of the football. There is someone that I think is up against some pressure here. I think there is somebody here that needs to perform because they have gotten them the weapons that they have gotten him this offseason. And he left a lot to be desired in the first year of being the Eagles' defensive coordinator, and that's Jonathan Gannon. Everyone wants to talk about Jalen Hurts and what they got him and A.J. Brown and all the weapons and Devontae Smith and what he's going to have in the backfield. Kenny Gainwell showed a lot of promise last year, of course. So you look at all the offensive, Dallas Goedert being your tight end, all that stuff. They did the same thing for Jonathan Gannon on the defensive side of the ball. They actually drafted a linebacker, which is bonkers to me, but they did it. Their first round pick, not the one that they obviously flipped for A.J. Brown, but their only selection they made in the first round, Jordan Davis, they went and they gave that to Jonathan Gannon and said, hey, do what you can with the big fella. And Jonathan Gannon, so far, as we know, is going to be running more of a 3-4 defense than we have really seen here since the days of Chip Kelly. And I don't mean to bash that thought into people's brains or that memory, but that's really the stone cold reality of it all. So right up there with Jalen Hurts, more or less, I have Jonathan Gannon up there is most important and also the most pressure on when it comes to the upcoming season. Other Eagles that you're going to be looking at here, I think, is still Fletcher Cox because talk about guys left a lot to be desired last year. He was complaining to the media about how he wasn't on the same page as his defensive coordinator. It wasn't his job to talk to the defensive coordinator. Well, somebody said something to the defensive coordinator because after that game against the Raiders, they were a much better football team. So that's something that I think you can look at with Fletcher Cox as both a leader and someone who I still think has talent left in the tank. I think this is Fletcher Cox last year as a Philadelphia Eagle, and I don't think that's breaking any news. But I think he wants to go out as a guy that was known for getting after it a little bit more than what he was known for last year. And I think Jonathan Gannon, with the tools he's going to have on this defense, will allow him a little bit more freedom to give to the veteran defensive tackle and maybe defensive end, depending on what type of front they actually decide to go with this season. So Fletcher Cox is definitely a guy I would have up there. Another guy is Marcus Epps. I mean, the Eagles, what do we all talk about here? You remember me and Gary Cobb were talking about, do they need a safety more? Do they need a corner more? I thought a corner was something they were going to go out and get. I thought they needed to draft a safety. So here we are in the same position. They still need a safety. Marcus Epps is a guy that they're looking at as a guy that will take a huge step forward this year and really earn and take the reins of being a starting strong safety in this defense. So he's a guy that I think is very important to the overall success. I think you're going to get great reps from Haason Reddick, like you said. I think you're going to get good reps from Jordan Davis even. I think you're going to get good reps from some of the guys that have made a name for themselves already in their NFL careers. Marcus Epps is kind of an outlier there. He still has a lot to prove at the safety position. He has given us some good plays here and there, enough for the Eagles to go, you know what? We feel good going into the season with him as our starting strong safety, or safety, because safety is so interchangeable, as we now know in the NFL. So Marcus Epps is another guy that I would put on that list. After that, I mentioned Fletcher Cox. Brady Graham is coming back from an injury, and we all love him. Not any younger, Brady Graham. And he's got some stiff competition there.
If he's in shape, they say he looks great. They say he looks great, but we're gonna have to see.
A friend of mine who got honored today, and I feel like it's just only serendipitous that I'm quoting him. Al Morgany, who is going to get inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. He would always say this: Whenever he hears I'm in the best shape of my life, that's when he knows it's time for that guy to retire. And guess what?
Man.
That's if you think about it, everybody who's like 40 and they're about to play their whatever 20th season in the NFL, whatever, and they're like, I'm in the best shape of my life, and they're like 35 or plus, it's like, well, that guy's done. Like, you're not. Like, even you at 35 is still, you as a fat 21-year-old is still in better shape than you as a slender 35-year-old. And I'm speaking from experience. But in all seriousness, I think Brady Graham is one of those guys that is going to have to still prove that he can give you that high level of play that we have seen him play in the past. And then the other caveat to him is that you got guys like Josh Sweat stepping up. You obviously already went out there and got an edge rusher like Haason Reddick. So you're going to have other guys that are going to be competing for that position. And then somebody else here. Look, you can talk about A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith's the one going into his sophomore season. We have already talked about Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown being the best wide receiver duo that this Philadelphia Eagles team has been able to put together in probably ever. That's a lot of pressure for a guy who we've seen 1 year of so far, and it was a year where you saw a lot of good things from Jalen Hurts. I'm not denying that. But there were missed opportunities that were left out there on the football field. Opportunities that you want to see Smitty, as he's become so fondly known, reel those passes in, take him the distance. We want to see him run every single route in the route tree. A.J. Brown talked last week about how he's been already able to do that. We knew about that coming into the league, so he was able to do that. Now I want to see the proof in the pudding. I want to see that consistently throughout an entire 17-game schedule. I want to see that. So those are the guys that I look at as the most important guys to really step up in this upcoming season for the Philadelphia Eagles.